Okay, Shavua Tov, Boker Tov, good morning. We have the distinct honor to be with our wonderful friend, Hachaver, the father of, if I could read my own handwriting, writing of Yisro, no. David ben Malka. Shlomo David? Shlomo David ben Malka, which we've been saying he should have a Texas hail. They shouldn't have hail in Texas, but they should hail out. We greet them in Texas, and Steve is one of the foundations of the Kotel, Yesodei Kotel. Every time he has anybody interested in going to Eilat, I don't know if he'll have any room for you, but he also arranges amazing trips. They went to the Kinneret recently, and he's just amazing. Steve is all around. We're davening for the future of Klal Yisrael. You have no idea. We have long discussions about the situation in the world, and we came to one conclusion: Ein od milvado. We can only depend on one, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Isn't that our conclusion, Steve?
Absolutely right.
You see that?
And I have a sweatshirt that proves it. It says the same thing.
That's right. Ein od milvado. I did, by the way, I was neglected, and my Anne is going to be happy because she likes to start the share in English, because I do a little Hebrew, but okay. So I neglected the fact that we did receive one of the bodies recovered, Manny Godard, who my wife keeps saying, oh wow, and she's always concerned about that family. Who says 75, it turns out he was 73. Maybe he would have been 75, but he's 73 years old when he was murdered, and he was murdered in front of his wife, Ayelet, the savages, the barbarians, who they want us to live next to. Again, this is not a political fear, but I'm just going to tell you something. This week's Parsha, we see that Esav and Yaakov are two different entities, and halacha psuka that we can't get along. You know what? Sometimes you just can't have two states. Well, I'm gonna leave that alone. I didn't say anything. I'm not getting involved in politics. Anyway, so that's Manny Godard left left 4 children and 7 grandchildren, and there are now three hostages' bodies that have yet to be returned. And of course they're talking about a treaty that's been kept, and they want us to follow stage number 2. Well, stage number 1 was never kept. We're supposed to all do this within 72 hours, and it's maybe 72 days. Terrible. And we're looking for Ron Gavili, Ben Yitzchak, and Dror Or, Ben Yoav. These are the 2 Israelis, and we have a foreigner also, 3 bodies that have yet to be returned. Okay, today is the 25th day of Cheshvan, and as is our custom, now that we know it's Shlomo, I don't know why I have it David ben Malka, and now I have to add Shlomo, right? Shlomo David ben Malka. What's his English name? Jeremy Gardner, just like Steve is Shaya, right? Shaya?
Yeah.
Shaya Gardner? Okay. So we do say Tehillim, and we have our Tehillim for today, which is Perik Memvav 46.
פרק מ"ו. למנצח לבני קורח על עלמות שיר, אלוהים לנו מחסה ועוז, עזרה וצרות נמצא מאוד, על כן לא נראה בהמיר ארץ, וכמות הרים בלב ימים, יהמו יחמרו ממיו, ירעשו הרים בגאוותו סלע, נהר בדגיו ישמחו עיר אלוהים, קדוש משכני עליון, אלוהים בקרבה בל תמות, יעזר האלוהים לפנות בוקר, המו גויים מטו ממלכות, נתן בקולות עמו ארץ, אדוני צבאות עמנו, נשגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע, לכו חזו מפעלות אלוהים, אשר שם שמות בארץ, משבית מלחמות עד קצה הארץ, קשת ישבר וקיצץ חנית, עגלות ישרוף באש. כי אנוכי אלוהים, ארום בגויים, ארום בארץ. אדוני צבאות עמנו, משגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלה.
אחינו, כל בית ישראל, אחינו, כל בית ישראל, הנשונים בצרה, בצרה ובשביה, עומדים בין בים ובין ביבשה. המקום ירחם עליהם, יוציאם מצרה, לרווחה ומפל אל יהרה, ומשיבות לגאולה השלה, בגולה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. Okay, we don't have Tzvi, and Tzvi had electrical problem in his house, that's why he couldn't make it today. But we wished his house a refuah shlema, and today is the yard site of Mordechai Rokach. Many say, I say Rokeach Mibilguri. Again, we're talking about the Rokach dynasty. We mentioned before Rokeach, the Belzer Rebbe, and he's Ben Rebbe Yisachar Dov Rokeach. I'm going to use the pronunciation. Do you remember Steve Rokeach?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever buy Rokeach? What
Sure.
kind? Gefilte fish?
Yeah, I don't know if we bought it, but I remember seeing it, of course.
It was like a brand like
Yeah,
Harwich
yeah.
Margaretten,
Absolutely.
Streitz,
Absolutely.
and then Rokeach. It was
Yeah.
a brand name. In fact, I did mention in the chat, I mentioned the fact there was like a history in the Jewish press of the founder of Rokeach, and I did connect the dynasty all the way back to the Sefer Rokeach, and that's where I came with the pronunciation Rokeach. Although Shmaryahu, I do respect the fact that you might have Rokach, and if you do have some sort of proof, I was going to ask a Belzer, a Chassid, how they pronounce, because that's the family, Rokach, whether it's Rokach, Rokeach. Anyway, it's Reish Vav Kof Ches, and that's his yard site today, the 25th day of Cheshvan. It's also the yard site of Kalman Zev Ben Bernard Levine. Oh, guess what? Guess what today's the yard site of? You won't believe it. 2014. The horrible massacre in the shul in Harnof. And it's now 14 years. I'm sorry, it's now 11 years. You see that? You're driving and you have better math than me. We could go straight there and you could drop me off right at the end of the block.
That's okay.
And so I'm going to prepare myself to get off, but we're going to talk about the four that were murdered and died on that day, and there was one that actually lasted a year before he passed away. 5 total, and a Jewish policeman was also murdered in the massacre. I can get off over here. You know that if you're going to take me, then you go next block. If you're going to take me, then you be able to make a U-turn. We see that? That's what Steve is all about.
Here?
Yes. Steve doesn't want to do half a mitzvah. He does 1.5%. He does 150% mitzvah. And I'm going to actually sign off now and we'll continue. Before we go back to לפני שנחזיר למרדכי רוקח מהבן של יששכר דוב שהיה היורצייט בכ"ב חשבון שדיברנו המון עליו, האדמו"ר השלישי זה הבן שלו, אז מרדכי מוטלה. אנחנו נגיד עוד פעם את הרשימה של החולים. אמרנו שלמה דוד בן מלכה, יוסף ישראל בן חיים מיכל, ישראל זאב בן מינה רחל, שרה בת טליה לאה, בנימין בן דניאל מרגליס, דינה Bas Esther Sabah, Yosef ben Avital Pasha, Yaakov Moshe ben Gladys Katon, Aryeh ben Chai Tova, Binyamin Mordechai ben Rachel, Nisim ben Ofra, Michal ben Naomi Sora, Aaron Tzvi ben Nechama, Yaakov ben Tamar, Yisrael ben Inbal Esther, Asher Rus bas Rivka, Pinchas Daniel ben Leah, Moshe ben Freda Leah, Chaim Yisrael ben Freda Hadassah, again Mashu Kadaf, Chaich Tufshin Yud Teslamich, Shaitel bas Leah. That's a new name. And of course, Lezivug, we just learned about Zivugim, Parshas Chayei Sarah, very big stuff. Yitzchak and Rivka and Eliezer got involved. Shalom ben Bela, Yehudis, Bas Chana Rachel, Yaakov ben Rus, Avram Shalom ben Rachel, Tamar bas Sipporah, and Malkiel ben Esther. Okay, that's our Rishima. We can go back to Reb Mordechai, Motala ben Yisar, Dov, Kech, Nolad bebelz, Bishnat 1902, ונפטר בארץ ישראל, יום כ"ה מר חשוון, ב-1949, נטמן בטבריה. אמו הייתה מרת חיה דבורה פיצ'נק, נכדה רב מרדכי מזוויל. רב מרדכי היה כבר מילדותו שינון ופיקח. Oh, I have to get back into the... I just want to make sure you see me. רשם מה שראה ושמע מאביו, מאחיו הגדול רב ארן, ניסה ב-1922 בהולשיץ at Sheva. I know someone by the name of Chevy, so it's really Chevy is Bat Sheva. But Moshe Aaron, Admor Mikubrin, שהיה בן רב יעקב יצחק רב בזדין של שוסברג. נכד רב משה מקוברין, מ-1928 נולדה לו אלתא בת סיום ונפטרה בגיל 3, לא עלינו. וב-1933 נולדה רבקה מרים אביו, רבי יששכר דוב, שמח עליו בענייני הנהגת הרבנות, העביר אליו כבר בצעירותו כמה תפקידים. חודשיים אחרי פטירת אביו, ב-1927, נתקבל לרבנות בבלגורי, היינו דרשן מעולה, פעיל מאוד בענייני הכלל וחביב בכל המחוז. I will make this so you could see me more. Okay. בכניסת הנאצים, good morning Morty. בכניסת הנאצים ברח רב מרדכי לפורצ'יקס, בברזן, ואשתו עם ביתו החולה נסע לאביה, נשבו שם. הצטרף לאחיו, וביחד נדדו מפרימישלן לווינישנה בקרקו ובאבנה. ניסה עמו בדרך פלאית בניסתו להונגריה ואחר כך לארץ ישראל. דרשת הפרידה מיהודי הונגריה ביום ג' פרשת וארא בשנת 1943 באולם הגדול של כל קהל יראים בבודפשט נתפסה. בארץ ישראל היה דמות מרכזית ביישוב, ועם אחיו ביחד פיתחו את חסידות בלז לתפארת. היא עמד בראש ישיבת בלז, ב-1947 נישא את מרים בת רב צבי גליק מסטמר, וב-1948 נולד בנו יששכר דוב, הממשיך at Shoshelet Bells. So his son is the present Rebbe. בקיץ 1949 יצא לאירופה בשליחות אחיו לעודד חסידי בלז הניצולים. לפני הימים רואים בו אליו אביו כמה פעמים בחלום שישוב מיד לארץ ישראל בצורת ימי תשובה, חזר אחרי שהתעכב ברומא באיטליה. בכל המועד סוכס נתגלתה מחלתו הקשה, עבר ניתוח, מסובך ונפטר כבן, he was only 47 years old. אחיו הורה להטמינו בטבריה, he's buried in Tveria. גדולת מרדכי בסוף ספר קדושתו של אהרון, כשפרצה מלחמת העולם השנייה, בימים שהעיר נכבשה בידי הבולשביקים, עמדה לו חכמתו וזכותו לגונן ולשוחח על היהודים שחסו בצילו בפני נוסיהם. צורי דת, שנקרב בה המועד חג הפסח, ואנשי השררה גזרו איסור אפיית מצה. You know, when the Bolsheviks ushered them from baking matzahs on Pesach, התייצב במטלה מפני המושל העיר, ביקש ממנו לבטל גזירה. He asked to nullify the decree. matzah זו שאנו אוכלים בפסח, הסביר לו על שום זכר מוראה שקרא לאבותינו בעת שיצאו מעבדות לחירות. That was a food that symbolized the freedom from slavery. אין זה הדגון שדווקא שלטון בולשביקי, which was a revolutionary government that went against the Tsar, that they should not דואג לשחרור המלים, that were concerned of the emancipation of the downtrodden, יעכב יפריע לקיים מצוות חינוך הזו. נכנסו הדברים בלבו של העריץ הגוי, ודת נתנה בבלגורי שיהודים רשאים להפרות מצות בפסח. And as a result of his pleas, Reb Mordechai, that they were able to bake matzahs. And who knows whether Rokeach, Streitz, Haaretz Margaretten, all those have matzah products, whether it all came back from the chus of the emancipation, of the celebration and the baking of matzahs in Bulgaria. Okay, that's Ad Kan, Hayard site Shel Mordechai Rokeach, in Bulgaria. Okay. And also it's the yard site of Talmud Zev Ben Bernard Levine, who, as I said, was one of the Kedoshim that were just murdered in Harnof, and he was born in 1959 and was murdered in 2014, as Steve mentioned 11 years ago. נרצח בפיגוע בבית כנסת בקהילת בני תורה בשכונת הר-נוף. נולד, he was born in Kansas City, Missouri. When he was 17 years old, he went on a Tochnit Yud Beis, a year in Israel, to study in Israel. אחר כך למד ביולה, Yeshiva University of Los Angeles. אחר כך מושפע, he was influenced by Yudei Richard Blick, and they actually set up a sniff, a branch of Esha Torah in L.A., Chazal Yisrael, and he continued his Limudei Kodesh. What happened on that horrendous morning? They were davening in the shul, and two lowlife terrorists, beasts, savages, from the same ilk of what we're dealing with today, Nichnasu Chamushim, they came in armed with a gun and with a knife, and they killed 4 of the daveners who were there, and also a shoter was also killed. V'achakach shana od mitpalel. So 5 in total. Besides Kalman, Levine, Moshe Ben Yitzchak Asher Twersky. He was the son of the Tolner Rebbe from Boston. He was born in 1955 and of course died in 2014. Nolad Boston. Haya Gaon, he was known for being a genius, the Baki B'Torah. and absolutely knowledgeable and with the Torah knowledge. Limed, and he taught Meot, hundreds of students in Yeshitomo, that's Torah Moshe, and he left behind 3 sons and 2 daughters. Also, the third of the ones that were murdered on that morning at Shul with their tefillin on, Aryeh ben Shlomo Kopinski, born 1971, and of course died 2000. Was murdered in 2014. He was born in Rhode Island, and when he was 11, his family went and made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael in Kiryat Arba, Lamad, Yeshivat Kerem B'Yama, which is my alma mater, the Yeshivat Hechel Torah. Shirei B'Tzal, he actually served in the Israeli army. He was in the unit Zihui Chalalim to identify those that fallen to identify the bodies, to find out who they really were through DNA. Later on in life, he was a mashgiach l'kashrus, and he left behind 3 sons and 2 daughters. Also, the fourth, the one who died on that day, which is their yahrzeit today, the 25th day of Cheshvan, I remember 11 years ago, is Avram Shmuel ben Aaron Goldberg, born in 1945, and again murdered on 2014. He was born in Liverpool, England, and he studied in Gateshead. Be'elef Chamot Tishim Rishesh, Allah Eretz Yisrael, was a Talmid Chacham, and he left behind children and grandchildren. Okay, עד כאן היורצייטים של היום. אנחנו אמרתי שאנחנו בכ"ה חשבון, ונסיים את פרק ט"ו, the 15th chapter of נדחי Israel. And we're talking about b'chol kama, the Chadish Oraisa, Bishmei. We were talking about the story, actually, for the Zohar. We were talking about how this is goes all the way back to story. Let's see if I can find the source exactly. Okay, forgive me. I'm looking over here. Okay, it goes all the way back. I don't have the original, but it is the Zohar. And we talked about how a person was condemned to Gehenna because he would do everything that was illicit in this world, but his son was encouraged to learn Torah, and every time he ascended in his Torah knowledge, he brought his father out from Gehenna, from the depths of Gehenna, and b'chol kama yichad Chadish Oraisa b'shmei atrin. And every time the son would come up with a chiddush, they would, with a new chiddush, his name, he got a superior crown. They crowned him. And begin chadzikina b'chol hay yakar ilchukaman the shavik bra the lay b'hay alma. A person who toils in Torah in this world will have an effect in the next world. Akan l'shmozeh isa gam kain b'tana b'dei Eliyahu Zuta Perk Yudzayin v'zelashon Amar Reb Yochanan ben Zakkai Pam achat hayiti mahalech b'derech u'matzati adam echad shehu haya malakei eitzim. I was walking in the way and I saw someone who was gathering wood with Dibarti Imo, and I started talking with him. Lo hichzer li davar, and he did not answer me at all. He ignored me. Achakach ba elai, and then later on he went over to me. Amalei Rebbe Mesani. Rebbe, you should know that I'm dead. Lo chai. I'm not from the land of the living. Amalei im Mesata. He said to him, if you are dead, Eitzim alolam lama lecha. Why are you collecting wood? Amalei Rebbe, Hazinli, listen to me. Mashem al-melecha. What I'm going to tell you. Derech Agav. She'ayiti chai. When I lived, ani v'chaverei, I and my friend, hayinu oskin ba'avera b'paltrin sheli, I would commit terrible sins in my palace. Shebano lekan, but when we came here into Gehenna, gazru aleinu, zardin shel sreifa, we were given a decree, a punishment of being burnt. Shani malaked eitzim. So you know what I'm doing? I'm gathering wood. Sorfin chaverai, and I set fire to the wood and set fire to my friend. Ekeshuhu malaked eitzim, and when he gathers wood, us sorfin osi, he burns me. Wamalei dimchem ad masai. So he asked him, if that is your punishment, how long is your punishment? Amalei shabazi lekan henachti es ishti mubered. When I came here, I left behind a pregnant wife. V'yodeani shezocherhi mubered. I know that she will give birth to a son. V'chem b'vakasha. I ask of you, havizor herbo misha sheyil nolad ad sheyil ben chamesh shanim tolichoso lebayis rabo lemikra. You want to know how long I'll be here? Take my son and train him for 5 years and bring him to the house of the Rebbe, Lemikra, where he learned Chumash, Kibisha, Sheyomar Bochu es Hashem Avarach, when he declares and says the words, Baruchu es Hashem Avarach, Az Yiamalin Osi Medina Shechem, it will take me out. That will be the day when I will get out of Gehenna. And this is a lesson for all of us. When we learn the Zecher Nishmos, as today we also Zecher Nishmos of those who were murdered in Har Nof, they are not in Gehenna, they're in Gan Eden. However, every time we learn in this chus, we say the Neshama Zaham and Aliyah. There is an ascension, the Aliyah. Every time we learn for the memory and the benefit of a past, someone who is niftar, it raises their neshamas and it brings them higher and higher. And with that, we end the shir. We wish everybody Chaim Tovim, Yom Tov.